The night air surrounding Kaohsiung National Stadium carried a kind of tender electricity. The kind that lingers long after the lights dim and the applause settles into a distant echo. AAA 2025 had just come to an end, leaving behind a spectacular trail of star-studded performances, emotional wins, and unforgettable reunions. Yet, even as artists moved backstage and staff dismantled equipment, no one realized that a moment destined to define this year's ceremony was not one scripted on stage, but one quietly unfolding behind the scenes. Under the soft golden glow of the fading stage lights, Park Bo-gum stepped away from the presenter's podium. His posture elegant and composed as always. He bowed deeply to the audience before making his way down the steps, the applause following him like a warm embrace. His classic black suit fit him flawlessly, radiating the clean, dignified energy fans had always associated with him. Behind him, Kim Yoo-jung approached with a gentle grace, the shimmering fabric of her ivory gown cascading down each step like liquid moonlight. When her eyes met his, even for the briefest second, there was a subtle softness that the high-definition cameras could barely capture but that fans instinctively recognized. Their reunion on stage for a brief award presentation had already sent murmurs through the hall. After all, it had been nearly a decade since they starred together in Moonlight Drawn by Clouds, a drama that earned its legendary status not only for its storyline but for the breathtaking chemistry between the Crown Prince Lee Young and the lovable eunuch-turned-maiden Hong Ra-on. Time had passed. Careers had flourished. And yet something about their dynamic, something tender, warm, and quietly luminous, remained untouched. And tonight, during AAA 2025, that timeless chemistry flickered to life once again. As they walked side by side off the main stage, the buzzing energy from the audience slowly faded into the muted sounds of backstage movement. Staff members offered quick congratulations, bowing politely as Bo-gum and Yoo-jung passed. Still, there was an undeniable awareness in the air. Their presence together, their silhouettes moving in harmony, brought a nostalgic ache to anyone who had once shipped a pair or cherished their on-screen romance. But what came next was what truly sent fans into a frenzy. In the shadowed corridor behind the stage, where golden spotlight spilled over equipment boxes and velvet curtains, Yoo-jung paused for a moment to adjust the hem of her gown. Sequins caught the dim light, scattering tiny reflections across the floor like stardust. Bo-gum noticed and slowed his pace, offering her a small, courteous smile. It was the kind of smile only he could give, gentle, sincere, with a trace of affection simmering just beneath the surface. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. Yoo-jung nodded, brushing a curl away from her face. "Just fixing the dress." The stage lights kept pulling on the fabric. Even in the quiet, her voice carried a warm melody, familiar yet matured. Bo-gum chuckled lightly, the sound warm enough to melt winter frost. They began walking again. And then it happened. A staff member brushed past them in a hurry, accidentally causing a piece of Yoo-jung's shawl to slip off her shoulder. It wasn't dramatic, barely a lapse in fabric, but to Bo-gum, who had always been attentive in the small ways that truly mattered, it was enough. He turned to her almost immediately. "Hold on," he murmured. She stopped, surprised, as he reached out with slow, careful movements. His hands hovered for a second, as if asking silent permission, before he gently lifted the fallen edge of her shawl and draped it securely over her shoulder. His touch was delicate, precise, not lingering, not presumptuous, but filled with a tender respect that made the scene feel almost sacred. The small corridor seemed to glow. For a heartbeat, they stood only inches apart. Yoo-jung lifted her eyes to him, a faint breath escaping her lips as if the sudden closeness had caught her off guard. Bo-gum met her gaze with the same unspoken warmth he had once conveyed on screen, those gentle eyes that always seemed to say everything without saying a single word. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant footsteps of staff. Bo-gum smiled, soft, earnest, undeniably affectionate. "You always walked with so much grace. I didn't want your dress to trouble you." It wasn't a line from a script. It wasn't staged. It wasn't rehearsed. It was sincere. And that sincerity, captured from the side by a small handheld camera operated by a rookie staffer, would soon become the most shared clip of the night. But in that moment, Bo-gum and Yoo-jung were blissfully unaware that the world was watching. They moved together naturally. Two people falling into a rhythm they once knew well. Instead of stepping away immediately, Yoo-jung adjusted her shawl gently where he placed it, fingertips brushing the fabric he had just touched. Something warm flickered in her expression, gratitude, perhaps. Or something softer. "You always notice the little things," she said. "Maybe I just notice you." He thought, but didn't say. Instead, offered another smile. One that reached his eyes fully. 2 meters away, two backup dancers passing by exchanged glances. Whispering in or one mouthed, "They look like a drama couple," while the other nodded vigorously. Able to tear her gaze away. Even staff members slowed their pace. Sensing the rare intimacy in the air, an intimacy subtle enough to be respected, yet unmistakable enough to stir rumors for months to come. As Bo-gum and Yoo-jung continued walking, close enough for their shadows to overlap, fans outside the venue were already screaming. Notifications pinged across screens as the backstage clip began circulating through private group chats. The moment was short. Just 7 seconds long, but it was enough. Half of Asia was already losing its breath. The clip began with Yoo-jung adjusting her dress. Then cut to Bo-gum stepping forward. Then to his gentle hands lifting the shawl. The swoon-worthy angle. The glow of the backstage lighting. The soft exchange of smiles, it was perfection. Some viewers commented that the scene looked like an unreleased K-drama still. Others insisted it felt too natural to be acting. Minutes, the clip leaked onto SNS. Within 10 minutes, it amassed hundreds of thousands of views. Within 30 minutes, it became the unofficial highlight of the night. But inside the stadium, walking through the quiet corridor, Bo-gum and Yoo-jung remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing outside. They reached the side exit where artists were gathering to take final group photos. The bright stage lights spilled into the backstage area, illuminating their faces once more. Bo-gum turned to Yoo-jung before stepping onto the platform. "Let me know if your dress gives you trouble again." Yoo-jung laughed, a small, soft laugh that held traces of the girl she once was and the woman she had become. "I will," she promised. Moved into the bright lights for pictures. They instinctively gravitated toward each other, not touching, not posing together intentionally, just naturally aligning themselves side by side. Photographers noticed immediately. Flash after flash captured the pair in perfect harmony, Bo-gum's refined presence beside Yoo-jung's luminous elegance. It wasn't staged. It wasn't orchestrated. It was simply comfortable. Sometimes, comfort is the most intimate form of chemistry. When the group photos ended, the two exchanged another small smile, fleeting, innocent, yet charged with an unmistakable connection that made fans instinctively gasp even through a screen. Their silhouettes parted as they walked off the platform. The moment remained suspended in the air, like a delicate note from a song that hadn't finished playing. The world didn't know it yet, but AAA 2025 had just birthed the most talked about moment of the entire award season. And by the time Bo-gum and Yoo-jung exited the stadium, the backstage moment had already begun reshaping headlines, creating romantic speculation, stirring the hearts of millions who still believed in the magic of unscripted chemistry. The soft hum of the post-award chaos continued to echo faintly as Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung stepped out of the photo zone. Behind them, the brilliant glow of the AAA stage slowly transitioned into the dim warmth of backstage lights. A faint breeze from the air conditioning brushed past, carrying with it the lingering scent of stage makeup, perfume, and the nostalgic sweetness of a night that had already begun to etch itself into fans' memories. Unbeknownst to the two actors, a 7-second clip capturing their intimate backstage moment had already leapt across the internet like wildfire. TikTok, Instagram Reels, Twitter X, every platform was igniting at the same time. Fans were screaming, crying, laughing, analyzing frame by frame, zooming into Bo-gum's soft smile and Yoo-jung's surprised expression. Within 25 minutes, the clip had 3 million views. Within 90 minutes, it had crossed 8 million. But inside the stadium, Bo-gum and Yoo-jung were still living in the calm of their own little world. As they made their way through a quieter hallway, the moment of silence between them felt natural, almost comforting. Yoo-jung adjusted her shawl once more, lightly smoothing the edge that Bo-gum had replaced. Bo-gum noticed and smiled quietly, not with pride, but with something gentler, almost tender. "Still sitting well," he said softly, nodding to her shoulder. Laughed under her breath. "You even remember how it looked?" "I pay attention," he replied in a tone so sincere it made the air feel warmer. She looked at him, not surprised, but touched. There was something special, undeniably sincere, in the way he noticed details most people wouldn't. It was a quality she had admired since their early acting days: his attentiveness, his gentleness, his unspoken care. A manager hurried down the hallway toward them, waving his phone with an expression torn between shock and excitement. "Bogum SSI. Yoo-jung SSI," he called out. "You two are trending." Yoo-jung blinked. "Trending? For what?" The manager turned his phone around, showing them the viral clip. The video had already been edited into multiple versions: slow motion, zoomed, aesthetic filters, romantic background music. The caption on the most popular one read, "He fixed her shawl. I'm crying. This is real-life K-drama." Yoo-jung covered her mouth, eyes widening. "Already? But that was only a few minutes ago." Bogum chuckled, quiet, modest, a bit embarrassed. "I didn't think anyone was filming." "They always film," the manager said with a sigh mixed with amusement. "Especially when the two of you stand close to each other. The fans catch everything." Yoo-jung felt her cheeks warm. Not from discomfort, but from the strange, shy feeling of being watched in a moment that felt so genuine. Played the clip silently. It wasn't exaggerated. It wasn't edited to look romantic. Simply was romantic. Bogum glanced at her with a gentle expression. "Are you alright?" he asked softly. "I'm worried it might overwhelm you." She shook her head, smiling. "It's okay. They're excited." And it was a sweet moment. His expression softened at her words. It was. Their eyes lingered on each other just a second longer than necessary, but long enough for the manager to clear his throat discreetly and continue walking. Outside the building, fans were already gathering behind barricades, shouting both their names with ecstatic energy. A few had printed screenshots of the viral moment within the hour, holding them up like tiny banners of their collective joy. The clips played on phone screens held high above heads. "Appa, you're so sweet," someone screamed. "Yoo-jung Unni, you two look perfect," another cried. "Is this real? Are you dating?" a teenage fan shouted desperately, causing the crowd to erupt with laughter. And Yoo-jung exchanged a quick, bashful glance. Said a word, they simply waved politely and bowed, handling the attention with the same grace that had earned them admiration over the years. As they moved toward the designated exit for artists, a reporter from a major Korean entertainment outlet caught sight of them and hurried over. "Bogum SSI, Yoo-jung SSI," the reporter said breathlessly. "Could you comment on the moment captured backstage? Fans are calling it the sweetest scene of AAA 2025. Yoo-jung hesitated only a second before answering with her signature calmness. "It was just a natural moment," she said. "Bogum was helping me. I appreciated it." The reporter turned to Bogum. "And you? SSI? You were very gentle." Many viewers thought it felt like a drama scene. Bogum laughed softly and looked down, a habit he often displayed when shy. "I didn't think about the cameras," he replied. "Just didn't want her to be uncomfortable. That's all." His sincerity only fueled more admiration online later. But before the reporter could ask more questions, the security guard gently ushered them away, explaining that the press needed to stay within assigned zones. Bogum and Yoo-jung thanked the reporter before continuing toward the parking area. The night breeze outside was cooler, lightly against their skin. The muffled cheers of fans vibrated through the air. As they reached the point where their paths diverged, flowed instinctively. "Thank you for tonight," Yoo-jung said. Her voice was soft, sincere, touched with something deeper lingering beneath the words. "It was nice, being on stage together again." Bogum nodded, his gaze warm and steady. "Likewise. It brought back a lot of memories. Good ones, I hope," she teased. "Yes," he replied without hesitation. A soft silence fell between them, not awkward, but soothing. A silence full of memories, of their shared past. Perhaps hints of something new beginning to take shape. Yoo-jung tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her cheeks still slightly pink from the chaos of the viral moment. Stepped back but then paused as if remembering something. "Text me when you get home," he said gently. "Just so I know you arrived safely." Her eyes widened in mild surprise, but then she smiled. A smile so pure and warm it seemed to glow in the dim parking lights. "All right," she replied. "I will." Parted with a small wave, and though their backs turned in opposite directions, glanced over their shoulders at the same time without realizing it. Their eyes met mid-turn. Both laughed, quiet, embarrassed, almost childlike. It was a moment no camera caught. A moment only theirs. Later that night, as social media exploded, the headlines multiplied. Park Bo-gum protects Yoo-jung in viral AAA clip, fans declaring it better than a drama. Romance rumors rise after Bo-gum's gentle gesture toward Yoo-jung. Netizens ask, are these two really just colleagues? Media analysts began dissecting their body language. Fan artists created illustrations of the moment. Even edited potential drama posters featuring the two. Meanwhile, the original staffer who captured the clip was praised online for giving the world the softest moment of 2025. The quiet of their respective homes. Long after the screams of fans had faded and reporters had finished their questions, the two stars finally had time to check their phones properly. Bo-gum watched the clip with a mixture of embarrassment and soft amusement. It really looks like a drama scene, he murmured to himself. Yoo-jung watched it too, with a hand over her mouth. Half shy, half amused, and undeniably touched. She typed a message to him. Home now. Thank you again for earlier. Seconds later, his reply appeared. Good. Rest well. And I'm glad I was there in that moment. Yoo-jung held her phone to her chest for a brief second. Smiling into the darkness of her room. The world saw a 7-second clip. Fans saw a blooming possibility. Media saw a headline. But for the two of them, Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung, it was something quieter. Something softer. Something real enough to linger. AAA 2025 had ended, but their moment had only just begun shaping a new story, one whispered by fans, captured by cameras, and felt deeply by anyone who believed in the beauty of unscripted tenderness. And somewhere in the night, the possibility of romance breathed softly between two hearts that had once created magic together on screen, and were now, perhaps unknowingly, it again in real life.